Hello, Halo fans, and welcome to another episode of the Halo Effect. I am Robert Lockhart. Hey, let's talk some baseball. All right, well, the Angels haven't finalized their coaching staff just yet, so they haven't been really making any moves. But then again, the month of November is a little slow as it is anyway. Nothing really picks up till about December in the offseason. So, here's some Angels rumors. Right now, the Angels are going to be looking for rotation help, bullpen help, someone to play third, and someone to possibly play center field. Because, let's face it, Rendon, come on, he's not going to be anything. In this particular case, I see the Angels basically doing the same thing they did with Albert Pujols back in 2021, where they kind of released him on the last year of his contract. Granted, it was mid-season, but still, I see the Angels basically giving Rendon his walking papers. Like, we'll pay for the rest of the season, obviously, but go away. Open up a roster spot for somebody who actually wants to be there. That's the best thing to do. Possibility at third base is probably someone like, bringing back Rengifo or Moncada are possibilities. They've discussed that. That's, kind of, rumor mill right there. Another possibility was the trading for Alec Bohm from Philadelphia. Now, for those who know Alec Bohm, he's one side or the other. He's either give you good power numbers or he's going to give you good average numbers. He's never really kind of in the middle anywhere, because he had very down power season, but his batting average was up this year. So, that's other possibilities. I heard the Angels were interested in possibly going after Bo Bichette. Well, the guy's a shortstop. Does he want to move over to third base? Because we already got an excellent shortstop in Neto. And their Angels aren't going to get rid of Zach Neto. No, that's not happening. So, does Bichette want to move over to short? Move from short over to third? Maybe. Don't know. But the most likely place he ends up is maybe back with Toronto. But because things kind of went the way they went, and because they got Ernie Clement to take over at shortstop, they can move Addison Barger over to third base. They'll probably get a draft pick out of him by somebody else who signs him. That's the most likely scenario. Now, for rotation help, there's quite a bit on the market right now. Big names are like Dylan Cease, Framber Valdez, just to name a couple. I've heard the Angels interested in Dylan Cease. I really have no issue with that. I've always liked Dylan Cease. He's a little erratic, but with, Maddox as your pitching coach now, it was probably going to smooth all that out. But then again, the Angels still have young guys coming up to the minors too that may very well be ready. And again, with Maddox, very well could refine all their major issues. Any kind of major problems they've been having, I'm sure he can smooth all that stuff out. And guys like Sam Aldeguerri or Caden Dana could very well, find their way into the rotation. And again, guys like Dylan Cease, Framber Valdez, these guys are going to look for multi-year deals. You're looking at 5, 6, 7-year deals for these guys. And, what are you going to do with Dana and Aldeguerri or even Ryan Johnson when he shows that he's ready for the bigs in the rotation? Possibilities. So you never really know in that particular sense. But again, Valdez and Cease are guys that they're interested in. I go for lower level guys, guys you can sign to a 1-year deal, because if Dana is Aldeguerri or even George Clausen or Johnson is ready for the bigs, you don't want to block them, or you can trade them. Either way, you can do either one. Now, for the bullpen, you can do a multitude of things. The Angels also have internal guys like Victor Medeiros and Connor Brogdon. Again, with a better pitching coach, stuff can be smoothed out and guys could, really kind of find their potential. Center field, I've heard Cedric Mullins' name kind of floating around. Internal options, obviously, Bryce Teodosio and Nelson Rada is like one of our top prospects. Now, Rada, you have to figure, is he ready for the big leagues? We still don't know yet. Teodosio showed absolute brilliance in center field defensively, but he still has to learn how to hit. And we're not sure if he has learned that yet, or if he's even capable of getting to that level of the big leagues. So, as it pertains to my thoughts and my what I would do in this particular situation, third base, I would bring back Moncada. I know he's a bit of an injury risk, but you also have Peraza there, Oswaldo Peraza, who you're going to have for another 4 years. He's not a great hitter by any stretch. He's a great glove, but not the best hitter. So you can switch him out with Moncada, half and half, or 60-40, however you want to do it, for the next few years. And you want to basically bring in a possible new franchise third baseman from the minor leagues. Now, the Angels got nobody in that particular situation, so you want to make a trade? Rumors are they're possibly shopping Taylor Ward or Joe Adell. Joe Adell's not going to play center field. He's not a center fielder. I mean, he's barely a right fielder. Now, Adell's got 2 years of control left where, Ward's only got 1. Again, to me, Ward has established himself in some way, shape, or form as a viable big league guy. He's already been an all-star. He showed that he can be a big leaguer. Now, people are saying he's had a breakout season this year. Now, it was a few years ago. What are you talking about? It was like 2022 where he had his major breakout season. Then he got hit in the face with a fastball in 2023. And 2024, we all know how poor everybody did, and he did as well. But no, his breakout season was a few years ago, and he showed he was an all-star. So I keep him. I trade Adell. Adell upped his value and is capable of showing that, hey, he can be a serviceable big leaguer. He's a slugger. He's going to hit you possibly 30 home runs, 30 plus. But he's going to have a low batting average. Make no mistake, he's not going to have a high batting average in any way, shape, or form. So I really wouldn't count on him for, good averages. Maybe he makes an all-star team or two, but I don't think he's going to be a perennial all-star candidate, no. So I would take Adell, trade him to Detroit. And Detroit has a young shortstop in the minor leagues, in high A ball, I believe, in Bryce Rayner. And he was a first-round pick a couple years ago, actually, with, when the Angels took Christian Moore. Now, Bryce Rayner right now is a shortstop, but he profiles perfectly as a third baseman. I move him over to third base after acquiring him and let him come up with the bigs, in a year or two when he's ready. And then you can let Moncada walk and, kind of DFA Peraza, whatever you want to do. And Bryce Rayner could be your future third baseman. That's just what I would do. Obviously, for rotation help, I always advocate for Shane Baz, again, with Mike Maddox as your pitching coach now. As good as Baz was this year, granted, he had a few hiccups, yeah, but first year after Tommy John. First full year after Tommy John in the rotation. So, yeah, you're going to have a hiccup or two. But with Mike Maddox as his pitching coach, think about it. His stuff that's amazing right now as it is will get even better. And quite possibly maybe he can reintroduce a couple of his pitches that he's discarded, like his cutter and his two-seamer. He got rid of his two-seamer for his four-seamer. He got rid of the cutter. He even got rid of his curve for a while. Then he came back with a knuckle curve. I would go with a spike, but whatever. That's just me. These are just things I would do. These are possibilities that roll through my head. But for that, I let things kind of play out the way they're going to play out, because Angels going to do what they're going to do. So let's hope for the best, guys. And let's see if they have a decent offseason that will promote a much better 2026 season. We already got a great pitching coach. Our pitching is going to be a heck of a lot better. So, you know what? I'm kind of on board for what 2026 could possibly bring. So, in that case, in that instance, I'm going to sign off and go Halos.